So 2 or 3 things I want to talk about this morning very briefly. I'm going to go back to Ezra. Ezra rose in his wretchedness with cloak and mantle torn. I fell on my knees. So he's got his outer garment and his undergarment, and he's torn them. And again, with the high priest, what did they do at Jesus' trial when he said, you'll see, me coming on the Son of Man coming on the clouds? What did they do? They tore their garments. And this was this act of outrage they were outraged by what they perceived to be Jesus' blasphemy. So this is like an outward sign of their anguish over sin. And so this is what Ezra is doing. He's got his cloak and his mantle torn. He's falling on his knees. He's stretching out his hand. He says, I'm too ashamed to even raise my face to you. And he's not saying, because I'm such a lousy guy. He says, because our wicked deeds, from our fathers to this day, just the state of humanity, the state of Israel. And so he's lamenting and praying for mercy. And he goes through this little stretch here where he recognizes that our kings and our priests have been taken captive by foreign lands, the sword and captivity, pillage and disgrace. And then God has treated us mercifully. That's the next little part. That God has treated us mercifully. We are slaves, but God did not abandon us. But the pagan kings, the kings of Persia, are going to restore us, which we talked about Cyrus a couple days ago. And so we have God's hand of providence rescuing us from our wickedness. That's a theme of the Bible, okay? And what does he use? He sometimes we think, well, he'll use he'll use this. And lo and behold, what does he use? He uses the pagan kings that somehow proved to be more righteous than the kings that were raised up for the kingdom. And it's hard to put God in a box like that sometimes. It just is. And so I just had a moment. I wasn't even planning to preach about this, but when I stood before the tabernacle this morning preparing myself to go to the chair, I think I felt Ezra, the spirit of Ezra, like, Lord, have mercy on us all, And so we do pray for our nation and our church and ourselves and our families and for God's providence, who in a responsorial psalm says he scourges and then he has mercy. He casts down to the depths, but then he brings up. And so so we ask for mercy for our own sins and for the sins of the world. And we are dependent on God. The gospel makes the 12 radically dependent on God. No walking stick, no sack, no food, no money. Money, someone might say, makes the world go round. And trust me, we need to take up a collection. And people have to be paid and all of those things, okay. But ultimately, God has all the money he needs. He really does. But he gives us money so that we can share it. And we are required to be givers. And the more we get, the more we're supposed to give. But money's not what makes the world go round. God makes the world go round, but God gives us things for us to share, to take care, to provide for, and all of those things. So it's how we wrap our brain around this. As a priest, I have to remember that the salvation of souls is not dependent on money. It's dependent on the Holy Spirit. But money does fit into the equation somewhere. God says, take no sack, no food, no money. Go and bring your message. And now finally, very, very briefly, St. Vincent de Paul. St. Vincent de Paul, a brilliant man, became a priest. Interesting part of his story, he was kidnapped by the Muslims. He converted his captor. He was released, and he had great care for the poor. And so we have the St. Vincent de Paul Society in his honor and that kind of thing. But today, God's providence, God's mercy. Who are we celebrating Mass for today? The whole world. The whole world. Who are we asked to pray God's mercy for today? The whole world. Why are we privileged to be here? To have faith, to have the Eucharist. We are just blessed beyond measure. And we're here not just for ourselves. We're like Ezra, praying for the whole world. The whole world. Lord, have mercy on us all.